What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to Show and Tech. So I just got finished pre-ordering my new iPhone SE 2020. And for those who might be interested, I went with the 64 gigabyte red version, which all the YouTubers seem to be doing currently. But the reason why I think a lot of us are going for that version is the fact that the proceeds from that, rather than going to HIV and AIDS research this time around, is going straight towards COVID-19 research. So pretty cool to be able to not only buy a phone, but also support something that's affecting pretty much everybody right now. So leading up to the pre-ordering of my iPhone SE 2020, and even before that, I was browsing through Twitter, as I tend to do, probably too much actually. And I started to notice that there were a lot of negative comments surrounding the whole release of the SE and the purpose behind releasing it. Now, one of the major comments that we tend to see comes from people out of the Android camp who feel like there's a lot of reasons as to why there are better Android phones at that price point that are more worth buying than the iPhone SE 2020. And then you also have people who are already Apple fans, already into the Apple ecosystem, and they too believe that, this isn't truly a new phone. It's nothing groundbreaking. You don't need to pick it up because of the fact that it's taking ideas from an older phone. So I kind of broke this down into the three major reasons that I've seen so far as to why people feel that you shouldn't buy this phone. Reason number one is because it's borrowed the design from the iPhone 8 or the iPhone 7 and 8. Other than the fact that they moved the Apple logo down to the center just for some continuity between all of their newer devices. Now, I can understand why that might be upsetting for some people and why that might not be as exciting for others. But what you have to remember is the fact that it's not about how the phone looks, it's about how it functions. So there's a lot of people who are going to buy this phone regardless because of the fact that they're coming from an older device. This is something that they already know and love. They know that the design of the body is something that is reliable, feels great in the hand, looks nice. So the intended market of this phone is people who aren't tech enthusiasts and not worried about having, the biggest, most beautiful phone. They just want something that is going to work and that it's going to work the exact same way every single time. So by having an older body that's tried, tested, and true, you're going to get a lot of people who are coming in confidently and ready to spend that money. So the second reason that I've seen a lot on Twitter is that the battery is too small. So the battery on the iPhone SE 2020 is an 1821 milliamp hour battery. And a lot of people feel that this battery isn't gonna be able to last you a full day. Now, by 2020 standards, if you look at all the other phones that exist, those phones have massive screens. So the average phone size right now is probably like upwards of 5.5 to 6 inches in terms of total screen size. Now, obviously phones of that size are gonna require a much larger battery in order to power them for the entire day. You're talking about phones that have quad HD displays that are super bright and a ton of other things that they're trying to do behind the scenes that they're having to power behind the scenes. So yes, you're gonna need a much larger battery for those types of devices. The iPhone SE 2020 has a 4.7 inch screen. Yes, the brightness shares the same nits value as the iPhone 11. But at the end of the day, this one's going to require a lot less power due to the fact that it's using a very efficient chip in the A13. So although the battery size is smaller in terms of the spec sheet, I still think that this is going to be something that lasts the average user, or even somebody like myself who's considered to be a somewhat power user. I still think that it's going to last the entire day. And then finally, reason number three, and this one really cracks me up, is the amount of RAM that comes packed inside the iPhone SE 2020. So this one here only has 3 gigabytes of RAM. And I think that that is something that we are starting to scrutinize a lot more just due to the fact that we have companies like Samsung who are powering out phones that have 16 gigs of RAM. At the end of the day, you don't need that much RAM in a cellular device. We know that Apple's phones are completely proprietary. So iOS and the manufacturing is all happening under one house, under one roof. So their devices are super fine-tuned, extremely optimized to work with whatever they put inside of them. So if you're somebody that's worried about how much RAM this has and if that's going to impact your overall use of the phone, then I would say you really have nothing to worry about. If you look at Android phones that come at this same price point and have a higher spec sheet, you'll notice that those phones, while yes, on paper they look great, the actual performance of them usually doesn't add up. And that's because you have all these parts coming from different places, from different companies. They're trying to make their own version of an Android skin to layer on top of the vanilla Android. And all of these moving parts tend to bump down the overall performance of the device. Whereas, as we said, with an Apple device, it's all coming from one place and it's all coming from that same sort of brain trust, and everything just works the way that it's supposed to. So all that being said, you guys know that I'm an Android user. I have a Samsung flagship phone in the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. So by no means am I an Apple fanboy or anything like that. I just try to look at things with an unbiased eye. I really see this phone coming in at $399 being a huge budget steal. Not only is it great because of the internal aspect, the things that it has packaged on the inside and how competitive it is in that sense. I mean, I think the thing that is most important when discussing this phone coming in at $399 is to look at the original iPhone SE. So that was a phone that came out back in 2016, 2017. And my iPhone SE from 2016 today has still been receiving updates, is still running the latest version of iOS, and is still perfectly functional. Yes, the battery might be shot because I bought it from somebody used, but at the end of the day, you know that this thing is built to last. So those are just some thoughts from me on what I've been seeing on Twitter, and all the negative reasons as to why people are saying this is a phone to avoid. But really, I think this is something that we should be taking a really good look at, because now it's showing other companies that we're able to package some pretty good stuff into a cheaper phone and access a whole new market of consumers. Not everybody wants the big display, the fastest display with 120 hertz refresh rate. Not a lot of people actually care about that. But I mean, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below. As I said, mine's already been ordered. They're supposed to ship out at some point next week. And I believe the delivery is between May 1st and May 5th. At least where I'm at. So I'm super excited to get this phone in and start seeing whether or not all these thoughts that I have are actually true. And so that's pretty much been it from me. Feel free to hit that thumbs up and that subscribe if you're looking forward to more iPhone SE content coming at you in the future. So much love as always, throwing up two of them, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.